Here are thinking questions for you. It is a test on inverse function. Question number 1, let me say this question. It says determine the inverse of f of x equals to square root x plus 2 minus 1. So copy the question and write down your answer. And the second question here is find inverse of f of x equals to 5. Explain your solution. Now these are very interesting questions, and I have seen similar questions in the test paper, and I have also noticed that students really find them very difficult. Now the very first one is determine the inverse of f of x. That means what we're trying to find? Inverse of inverse, right? So so when we do inverse of f of x, what do we get? So it's like this operation, right? So first is to find the inverse of the function and then to find its inverse. Do you get it? So what will you get? You will get the function itself, right? So you'll find its inverse and then the inverse will be back to the function. So first you find its inverse and then the inverse of that will be the function itself, and therefore the answer is f of x, correct? So this is equals to f of x. So that is your answer. The same function, square root x plus 2 minus 1 is your answer, right? And you can explain it in whatever way you now feel like, right? I've given you a hint here. Second question is find inverse of f of x equals to 5. Explain your solution. Now the very first step in finding inverse is you write the equation as y equals to something and then you interchange x and y. Now here there is no x, and therefore students sometimes get very confused. Now let's look into it. So we have f of x equals to 5, so we'll do y equals to 5. And now we need to find inverse of this. So there is no x here, so what should we do? That is a huge problem, right? So what we do is we change x and y. If there is no x, there is y at least, right? So to find inverse, what are we going to do? To find inverse, it should be x equals to 5, right? Change y with x. So x equals to 5 is inverse of this function, right? Now to explain you better, I thought I should make a graph here. So we have, let's draw what is y equals to 5 on a graph. Y equals to 5 is a horizontal line where at every point the value of the function is 5. So this is your line, right? So this is x and this is y. Now if you do inverse of this, that means if you flip it on the line which is y equals to x, then what do you get? You get a vertical line, correct? You get a vertical line. There you go. So this is the inverse of this function. The inverse of this function is actually equals to 5. X equals to 5. Since inverse of this function is x equals to 5. Now this vertical line equation is x equals to 5, correct? So that is how you write. So you'll write here that inverse of y equals to 5 is x equals to 5. That is how you're going to write it. Do you understand? And this line, what is the domain range for this line? Domain is just x equals to 5 and range is all real numbers and it is not a function, right? So that is how it should be. So this question is very interesting. I thought I should share with you, and I hope you appreciate it. Thank you.